Don't cough on my introduction.
I'm sorry. I was trying to get it out before you started. All right, go for it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Outpost Frequencies. Myself and Shawn have been discussing extreme cinema and some of the most controversial movies ever made. Tonight is probably the one that is on the top list of all controversial movies ever made. My Little Pony. No, a Serbian film. Now, have you watched this in preparation, Shawn? Because I haven't.
I watched it when it came out, and then I have not seen it since. But it's one of those things that you don't really forget. So I didn't feel the need to rewatch it.
I'm in the same boat. That yes, I watched it when it came out. The images are still with me in my head, but it's not the kind of film I would want to revisit, and I don't think anybody should. It's kind of one of those films. I've said this in the past. It's one of those films that I think everybody, if you're a cinephile, should watch at least once in your lifetime, but that's kind of enough. It's definitely not a sit down with the family and Christmas and watch it.
Dean said to me, I've heard him say this many times, but he said ever since that movie come out, there's really not been anything like he thought was shocking. So it's like that was the absolute peak of what could be done to shock people. I don't know if that's true.
I mean, but let's break down the story. So, I mean, the story of it is an ex porn star is sort of drawn back into the movie industry so that he can make what he thinks is just sort of one last film.
One last job, as is often, as
is always the case with these sort of things. And then things just sort of get out of hand. I can't really remember.
That's the way.
I can't really remember the rest of the story, to be perfectly honest. I'm sure there is. So
they give him this drug that like aggressively heightens your sexual aggression, and like it doesn't matter it doesn't matter if you're straight or gay or necrophilic. It don't matter. You see a hole, you're going to stick something in it and screw it to your bleeding, or it dies. And even after that, so he gets betrayed. Yeah, it's kind of a complex little bit of a part, but
yeah. I must admit, I had forgotten about that, but now that you say that, I was like, oh yes, that's why some of the stuff goes on in the film.
Yeah, so he basically gets blackmailed into it, and then he sort of becomes like a sex slave for the porno movie makers, and the plot really doesn't matter too much. It's it's the individual things that's done. So at the end, to spoil it, he's basically tricked into. Oh man, can you even say it on YouTube?
Paraphrase it as best you can.
He very aggressively makes love to his. He doesn't know that these two people are who they are. When it starts, he very aggressively makes love to his wife and his own kid.
See, that to me is still not the worst of it. I mean, for me, the worst of it is the woman who was strung up, has all her teeth removed, and then chokes on a cock, basically, until she's suffocated. And it was also the film that produced the term, which you don't hear very often, newborn porn. Yeah, that happens too. And then at the end of the movie, him and his daughter and his kid, he commits a triple suicide with, because who would want to live after that? It's like, there's no getting over that. And that's still not the end of it, isn't it? Because even with the dead bodies, the director of this movie still sort of comes in. Yeah, they're dead, and then he's like, comes in with the camera, like, okay, and gets another guy. Get the young one first, didn't he say, or something? Yeah. And it's just. And then we cut straight into Necromantic, part 3. I mean, it is an incredibly unpleasant movie. There are not many movies I would not revisit, and even like I say, I knew we were going to be talking about this one. I didn't want to sit down and watch it again just to remind myself, because the images in it are still quite deeply imprinted in my brain. Very Eastern European post, Sarajevo, Croatia War, and all that stuff. I don't know. Allegedly, the director claims that it's a
take on something. I don't know, man. I don't know if I believe that or not, but it's something. You know.
I mean, again, it's one of those films that is quite well produced. If you didn't know,
it's very slick. Yeah,
you know,
if you're watching like the new Saw movie or something.
You know, you just think you're watching a foreign film, a Serbian film, and you wouldn't think anything of it because the production is actually quite good. But as the movie progresses on, it just becomes, I mean, more and more just completely grotesque as it goes on.
Yeah, Sallow is sort of like a warm up to it, really.
Yeah.
Because this is more personal, you know. There's this guy that you think like, oh, well, he's the lead. You don't want these things to happen to him, but and you know, you're a little bit more understanding of him before these things start. Unlike Sallow, where you're just kind of dumped into the middle of it. I think, you know what I mean? Yeah,
and like I say, let's not focus on this, but I mean, the expression "newborn porn" is exactly what it sounds like. I mean,
it really. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's not. The movie itself is. I would not call it pornographic. That's the subject matter, but I wouldn't. It does not fall into that. Like, you're not going to see it. You know,
you're not going to get serious help.
Yeah, I mean, the FBI's not going to knock on your door for cheese pizza, but if you own this movie, it's not like that. But it's, you know, it's something else. I don't. Yeah,
like I say, we probably should have done some research. But I mean, the director obviously had a story to tell, and I kind of wonder whether he. I was just thinking, you know, he was sort of telling the actors, right, nothing too bad goes on in this. What we're going to do is it's going to be quite light-hearted and everything else, and then just as he's going, well, you've signed the contract now, so you got to do what I say.
Yeah. It'll never work again if you don't make this film. Consequently, they never worked again, and they did make the film.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not true. I don't know. That's probably not true. But yeah, the joke is, of course, let me mansplain a minute. You know, you make a movie like that, they're probably not going to hire you for the next Hallmark movie. Disney's not going to call you up to be the.
We have got this great Serbian actor who's going to be in the MCU.
Oh, he's already well known. Don't worry, I know it's foreign, but he's well known already. Believe me, he's pretty well known.
It's when all the kids are sat there with their mums going, I recognise that man. Where do I know him from?
He's famous on the internet, isn't he?
Yeah, on crazyshit.com or whatever it is. I mean, with it, funny enough, I've just looked up the main actor, and he has done loads of stuff. I mean, Serbian Film was made in 2010, and he has carried on working ever since then. Yeah. So whether people see him as... He did use a pseudonym, I've just noticed. Funny enough.
Probably a good idea.
He probably picked the name of a person he really doesn't like. But I mean, like I say, it is. Yeah, it's a difficult watch. But I mean,
it was very controversial at the time too. I recall that it come out around that Human Centipede Serbian Film kind of window, and. I don't know. Human Centipede was. I heard a lot of talk about that too. I don't know which one of the two. So they come out. They were almost peers.
It's kind of weird because I see the Human Centipede, which you can watch up here, and we're going to do that there. I'll put the link up there. We did our review of Human Centipede. I found Human Centipede, even though it was gross, it was entertaining.
It's almost.
It's almost sort of tongue-in-cheek in the way it's done. You know, that they know they're making like a really sort of cheesy, weird movie, but they're all kind of having fun with it. Whereas the Serbian Film is much more on a serious tone.
Yes, that's true. There's no wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
No, that's
this
right.
This is all for laughs.
It is literally, we are going to shock you with this film.
Yeah, we're going to see how far we can push it. From what I understand, Serbia's censorship laws or whatever, what you can do is pretty lackadaisical.
Obviously.
And I mean, I don't think they. Yeah, I don't know. What else is there to say about it? You know, it's.
I still say, like I say, if you are a cinephile and you are somebody who enjoys films of whatever sort, if you're a normie like Yoda and Aggie, then it's probably not for you, but it's kind of one of those films that you should at some point sit down and watch.
if you're the kind of person that has been watching these videos, then,
Yeah.
it's sort of a must watch.
It is funny. Sorry, I just looked it up on on the IMDb, and I just looked up the rating, and it's basically got here: Brazil banned, China banned, Denmark banned, Kuwait banned, Malaysia banned, Spain banned.
Yeah.
Sweden, got a 15.
Well, you know,
They're
Sweden
very-
is the home of thriller or cruel pictures. So.
Yeah, they're very sort of open-minded towards us. Oh, this stuff is nothing. Oh, this is nothing compared to what we produce.
That's probably true.
Great. So I
I
mean,
think Sweden is the country that Dogorama was filmed in, I believe.
oh yeah, that's true. So yeah, that is true. Yeah, I saw that one last year as well, which again is.
That is porn.
Yeah. So a Serbian movie, what would you give it on technical value out of 5?
Yeah, it's very competent. I'd give it a 5. Best
Sure.
I can recall, it was 5. You know, it's a very slick production and all that. I'd give it a 5 on technical.
Shock value 2.5, solid 3 maybe. I think if we can, we'll give this one a 6 because I mean, like I say,
Yeah, it's probably the pinnacle. You know, at the time especially, I was like, wow. Now, since then, and the years it's happened, and retrospectively, I would not give it a 5. But as soon the day I saw it, it absolutely maxed out.
I don't know. I still think it's very much up there. I think even by today's standards of stuff that's come out and stuff that you would even see on like Crazy Shit and all this kind of stuff, I still think it is just one of the most controversial movies ever made.
Very controversial. I give it absolutely. It's still maxed out. Shocking. I guess what I'm trying to say is that if I watch it nowadays, I would not be as shocked as I was when I first saw it. But yeah, it's controversial and stuff. Yeah, it's absolutely probably the top.
If you look up if you just simply do a quick search on a search engine, any of them will throw up a Serbian film as the number 1 generally.
Yeah.
For me, the shock value I still think is it's the maximum. You know, even in today's standards and
Yeah,
the other stuff that I've seen. You know, like I say, from the fact that I didn't want to revisit it before we made this video, it kind of shows
The
you how bad it
ending.
is.
Yeah, the ending. I don't know, but I've seen. Oh man. God help my soul. I've seen things since then, though, that are, you know, I don't know.
No, I still think it's the worst. It's the worst. I mean,
I'm glad that you're not me then, and you still have the childlike innocence that Serbian Film is the worst thing you've ever seen.
Coming soon will be myself and Sean's chat of the top 10 non-consensual love scenes in movies. Seems as you have a thing for that. Anyway, that's beside the point.
That would probably be number 1 on the list, by the way, of that.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, non-consensual. I suppose, like I say, if you're doing a dead body of a underage boy, yeah, that kind of counts as a rape scene, I suppose. But anyway, yeah, so that was a Serbian film. Definitely not one to sit down with the kids and watch.
I'd agree with that.
I still say we should have a reaction video from Eggy and Yoda.
I'd love to
this.
do that, but they won't watch. Yoda will not watch that movie, I don't believe. Has he seen it before?
No, I can't imagine he's watched it at all.
Yeah, I doubt it. I don't, and I can't imagine. He knows. He probably knows enough about it by reputation to where he would never watch it.
It's a kind of a shame that that's the case,
what I mean?
because yeah, it would be a case of sort of like no, it's just a romantic fun comedy. Get a reaction out.
What's
of
wrong
it.
with Serbia, you bigot?
Yeah, God, racist.